Alright, we are here with Ral Storm Conduit. I have played this before, doing something similar, just taking a bunch of extra turns. There are more extra turns than there ever have been, never has been, so I'm just trying that with even more extra turns, right? You just play Ral and then copy really any of them, and you kind of just win. A lot of people aren't really going to stick around when you take 2 turns in a row, even if you don't definitively have a win out of that. It's still pretty hard to lose from there, but after having built this, I would make the argument that that Sarkhan, the teamer Sarkhan that I was playing, might actually be better for this, because the cards that you get in green are actually quite good. You can't copy extra turns, but it's a pretty big blow to lose access to green. It really is. And it's a little bit of a blow that this doesn't really draw a card like, Sarkhan does. So it's kind of but, it's still blue-red extra turns. It's hard to say that that's bad inherently. I may want more counter spells or more burn spells. I'm not running Ragavan because I'm just kind of burnt out of playing Ragavan on the play turn 1, then my opponent concedes, and I don't really get a game for a video. And if Ragavan comes in turn 5, it's kind of useless. So it's like a turn 1 scam, or I don't know. Consider an Opter weird. I don't have Thousand Year Storm in here, and these could just be counter spells or shock or something, but I'm in the mood to play them. I think deck thinning and filtering and sifting through is alright. I have some pretty steep delve cards, right? I basically have all 3, Trespass, Cruise, and Dig Through Time, so I guess these kind of make sense, but no. Don't be surprised if they don't wind up being in the end of the video. And oh yeah, this too. This one is really weird, but it has an extra turn on it. I have never activated this, or if I have, I don't remember, but I do remember the animation. It's like a giant compass on the screen or something goofy. It's an extra turn. It's pretty reasonable to happen. Probably won't be your first extra turn, but it could just be another card that could instead be a card draw spell, counter spell, something like that. But for now, I'm willing to send it. So take extra turns and win games. Let's go. Well, they have one of the things they arguably must always have. I think it's okay playing this. There's a good chance I mana drain this turn anyways, so maybe this doesn't make sense, but too late. Oh look, it's Delighted Halfling. Alright, well, that... I shouldn't call it a joke, but you know what I mean. The clown shell of green. The whole Triforce right there. Oh, actually, no, they didn't have a Boreal Grazer. They didn't have a Boreal Grazer. Never mind, maybe it wasn't the Triforce. They just had, like, Sprawl, Double Dork. Tireless Provisioner. That is probably just worth mana draining. Alright, my opponent had probably the most obscene thing I've seen in a while, but that's not saying much, because that's half the games against green. The only Crucius I see nowadays is like goofy combo that sort of just concedes when you counter Crucius. I guess you could counter the giant thing that it tries to do instead. I'm going to assume it's the combo deck and play accordingly. No, that doesn't do anything. I mean, it kind of does, but again, just play like they're the combo deck. It's definitely looking like the combo deck, which means it most likely concedes. Yeah, I mean, this deck does not function against counterspell decks, really. Or even anything that does a good job at removing this. It's just, I'm going to assume it's the combo deck. I don't know, the way they played it made it pretty obvious. I've got that's all my commentary. Alright. Interesting. Apparently that mana rock was extremely important. Love to see it. I keep thinking oops is good game and good game is oops. Another land? Yeah, we can play that kind of game, I think. This is an interesting card, sort of. Opponent does not know these. Toski. Oh, look, another card. Every single game I've played today, every single game has had uncounterable stuff in them. Like all of them. There isn't a single one that has not. Oh, boy. I don't know. So, none of these are really... Maybe I just Jace minus. Yeah, just Jace minus. I don't know. Feels like a little ugly, but it does sort of stop what my opponent did. It's a green-white deck, no haste. Toski, of all the uncounterable things, I suppose is actually beatable. It has been a brick wall of like Delighted Halflings and Cavernous Souls. It's kind of messy. I don't care about their commander like at all. It just makes a land when you play creatures. You just get lands. Okay, yeah, that's certainly nowhere near as strong as Jace. So, whoop. Do I cast Teferi? Do I cast Ral? Don't really feel too enthralled with casting Ral right now. Although maybe I should. It just sets me up for finding something worthwhile. Right? Like an extra turn is just really good, so. And I'm leaving up Lightning Bolt. I'm not sure what my opponent could do. I mean, the only thing they really want to do is Toski here, and that's not really doing anything. So, yeah, this is totally fine, right? Yeah, Toski's not as big of a deal as the emotional reaction I initially had is not not as warranted. Do I just bounce it again? I mean, of course I do, right? How am I falling behind with this? So 4? Yep, that's fine. We could double thirst. No, I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna have to discard, but who cares? Double dig through time is completely disgusting. And I don't really see merit in leaving up anything, like mana drain. So let's get rid of Teferi at this point. No, I get rid of this, I think. Actually, we get rid of one of these. It's not looking useful. Alright. I don't know how they get out of this. With immediate devotion, I suppose. Alright, they don't have it. They wipe out Jace. Well, that makes sense. That makes sense. I'd probably take out Jace as well. One, two, three, four, five, six. A land is a land. You got it. Let's do this. I think I'll scry first. another land is okay. Okay, this game is probably over. It's going to be pretty easy to chain extra turns here. But not 100% guaranteed, but it's safe to assume my opponent does not want to continue this game anyways after I do this. Oof, 4 lands in a row. That has happened quite a few times already. They have not conceded. I'm not sure what they're hoping for, but I'm pretty sure this is not winnable. Even if I didn't chain all of these together. Don't think he could win this. I mean, I'm having a good time. I'm having the time of my life. I might actually even ultimate this to Fairy. Couldn't tell you the last time that happened. Really don't know. I also don't know what happens when your opponent is AFK and you copy expropriate. Does it like auto vote for them? Who knows? I'm in the mood to just do this though. Oh, opponent. Why'd you leave? They left now. I don't know. They roped out and then they like actually manually concede it later. I wanted to keep going, but I was curious what happens if you aren't there for the vote. I have no idea. Which Sorin is this? This is the one that puts vampires into play. Alright, so I think there's now 3 insanely good hits off of Sorin. There used to be only like 2. But there are more now. We'll see what happens. I haven't played against this in a while. I don't think it's particularly good at all, but it's just vampires if you like vampires, right? Vampires are cool. It is mono, like black vampires, though. Bit there. Just a little bit Apparently my opponent has nothing. That's... Oh, my opponent has Phyrexian... Wait, what does this do? Top 3 cards. This is a card engine spell that would run away with the game, probably. So, no counter spell. Quite literally nothing to do. Kind of tragic. Opponent respected maybe counter magic last turn. Oh, and there's Cavernous Souls yet again. Wow, fascinating. I apparently just can't avoid this. It's just fundamentally unavoidable. Can't do it. Every single opponent just has Cavern Souls. Yep, I gotta do this. I just like have to do this. So Sorin doesn't give anything haste, and they already have, what, up to 5 mana, so most of the targets are already castable. That is a 5/5. I have pretty good things to do against that. Sort of. Typical. Sorin always has a 5+ mana target there. They can't minus it again. And they didn't have a land, so they can't hardcast it. Oh, they found a land. Of course. Why not? They could have, like, threw this at one of my Planeswalkers, and I personally probably would have done that. So, 1, 2... I'm still 1... Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm 1 off from Bloop Bloop. And this is, like, 10 light years out. So, yeah, we just do this again. That's fine. And we'll see what's on top here. Just a land, okay. It's not like I don't have... Wait, I could just play this, actually. What am I talking about? Yeah. There's no man land in play. I could just literally play this. Almost missed that. Memory lapse. Cavern of Souls. Now do you throw it at me? Nope. I feel like you had to take care of one of these. Seems kind of insane to not do that, but alright. Let's copy an extra turn and see if our opponent concedes. Yep, figured. Really think my opponent wanted to throw, like, anything ever at one of these. I don't know which one. It probably doesn't really... Let me make sure they can do that. Any target. Yeah, you had to throw this at Jace, because otherwise I'm just bouncing it, and then you're just caught up doing this and nothing else. It's kind of crazy to have no, like, 2 plays, right? It's just always this 5-drop. There's no second... like a 2 and a 3 mana vampire and just throw one of them. That's just too deep. It feels absolutely terrible to do that, but like, what's the alternative, right? Maybe it does just keep Jace distracted anyways, but it's keeping your entire turn locked up because you just have to keep recasting it. Yeah, you really had to throw it. It feels bad to do that, but you just have to toss this at my one of these two. I don't know which one's better. Jace is very scary, but the mana here is quite useful, so... Yep, well, I beat Cavern of Souls, look at that. I wish the Gambit was another card here. Yikes. Can I keep this? Oh, man. It's pretty... It's... I don't know, it's... Probably not. Probably not. Alright, is it game number 6 with the Delighted Halfling? I don't have any counterspells this time, though, so... Not as big of a deal. Opponent bins Mythweaver Pock. Look at that. Opponent has apparently nothing. Look at that. I will represent something. Foretelling is pretty low power, honestly. Looks like it would have... Might have just popped off fine. Yep. I think I played against this person earlier today. There's a counterspell, and I see no way of stopping it, so... Also, maybe didn't want to play all my fetch lands. I do have Jace in my hand. Okay, that's odd. got it. Well, no Cavern of Souls this turn, I'm sure. Yeah, I think I did play against this person earlier today. I just didn't have the tools to do the things I'm doing to them now. Could probably get away with this land here. Alright, Jason Plus or Jason Brainstorm? I don't really like my Brainstorm. I'm gonna just... Alright, opponent was done. I countered a thing that didn't do anything. Oh, that's right. The last person that played Tamio against me correctly named the card, and then I lost to the card. It was kind of crazy. Okay, the God of Winter is kind of bonkers. Feels completely bonkers to me, but that's cool. That's actually really cool. I like that. Well, that is not... Alright, okay, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I just wasn't emotionally prepared for it, I guess. Wasn't emotionally prepared for that either. Okay, you got it. This, that's not usually what you want to do, right? That's kind of like the worst thing to do with, with your flare, but it works, right? It just looks weird. Alright. What do you got? I feel like they really want to cast this. May play Snow, permanent figure. Okay, so this could hit... I have no idea. Thoughtseize? Is this a Thoughtseize spot? I don't know. It is a Thought Distortion spot. That is nuts. Alright. Opponent is deep. Opponent is deep in it. This is a main deck Thought Distortion in the end of 2024. I mean, I'm all for it. You got it. It's uncounterable, right? Yep. Pillage the Bog for 10, probably hitting... Again, I don't know. Everything that's happening is pretty cool. Okay, so we get Thought Distorted next turn. Does that mean anything? I can hide this, and then I lose kind of my whole hand, but... That is my opponent's entire turn, and I do get to save this, so this is probably okay. I mean, it's not okay, but I feel like that's not the worst thing that could be happening. Okay, never mind. I now am losing horribly, because that was just... Yeah, that was probably the worst thing to see. Yeah, by far. Alright, well, 4 cards to 1. I'm scrying. Opponent plays Primeval Titan, wow. So it looks like I will get to do this, but that doesn't just win the game. They get 2 snow basics. Oh, I love it. Primeval Titan is an interesting one. Alright, birds. You know what to do. That is interesting as well. Send it. I don't really think I'm, like, Cyclonic Rifting this. Okay, just double a Braid. Yeah, sure, it's a Ral and it wants to do stuff like this, so let's do it. I don't know if I'm winning, but I'm in a situation where things look like this? I don't know. Opponent has Emergent Ultimatum mana, almost. Ring tempts you. Search the library for a card that shows a color or legendary creature you control. Alright, so this is like quite a significant blowout. that card doesn't do anything anymore. Because it just don't have a creature. Alright, not the best hit. I could redraw before I minus, but probably best to scry first, honestly. Oh, jeez. How many lands is that, dude? Oh my goodness. 5 lands. What is happening? I probably don't even want to crack this. Just shuffle in 5 lands. Although there are Seek lands, right? Yeah, I don't have those in play. Honestly, this just looks like a Sultai good stuff pile. Okay, all that did was draw a card and let them swing with this, essentially. Oh look, it's Emergent Ultimatum. What do you know? The card I said probably wins the game on the spot. Target player draws 7 cards. Fun. Alright, well. Yep, that's game. Yeah, that's... I mean, Thought Distortion is a joke. You shouldn't... don't run this, ever. It's a complete joke of a card. Most decks don't care about this, and even the ones that do still really don't care about this. So don't... I do not think that just because it was good here, I do not recommend this card ever. But the rest of their deck is just like Sultai piled good stuff, right? I mean, this was a card I haven't seen before. That's pretty neat. The rest of it, it's nothing fancy. But, yeah, just Sultai, Ultimatum, and nothing else mattered. But it was a pretty interesting game up to that point. That is the... Wait, is that the... Wait, what? It is. This is the Foundations Chandra. I have never seen this card. That's pretty cool. That is pretty gnarly. I'm ready to see. Show me, opponent. Show me the 7-mana mono red commander. You teach me a lesson. Burst lightning my own face. I'm not above it. I will do it. If I have to. Okay, well. That is a thrill of possibility, getting rid of Crackle with power. Oh my goodness. Opponent looking at my lands. I love it. Probably has some kind of... No, I mean, they would have snapped it off if they had it, but I don't know. Another land might have been fine. Alright, hopefully I'm not torn asunder this turn. Okay, that's not being torn asunder. Land, and boots. Adorable. They can get 1 with haste here? Oh, they can't. They can't. It doesn't work that way. Alright, I top decked. I mean, probably one of the best things I could have top decked. Not like the best thing, but one of them. I don't think this is a game, though. I mean, my opponent still has play. Can I get to this before... Oh, wait, maybe I lied. If I get to this before, then I think the game's totally out of accessibility for the opponent here. I'm going to Burst Lightning and Eldrazi spawn. And you can't stop me. Oh, they didn't sack it in response. So rude. Alright, well, do it again. Can I awaken this? Nope. Alright, yeah. I mean, eventually they're going to give up, but I mean, hey, there is a very solid chance my opponent gets another turn. If I get to expropriate, though, which is, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, this is 9. Okay, I can't get to expropriate in one of these extra turn here. Like, if I go land, it's still not enough, so I won't be able to cast this until my opponent gets another turn anyways. But between these two, it could be very difficult for them to do anything, right? And I'm still scrying and whatnot. I'm still drawing cards, well, sort of. And it's going to be hard to come out of this, but they would very likely see another turn, though. They really would. Oh, boy. Yeah. Okay. Oh, jeez. Let's play this. Pass. I did lose the Delighted Halfling. That's probably counterworthy. I'm confident to counter this. Gotta know what's important in a matchup, and I think that's important, so I'm gonna counter it. I'm gonna cast this here. Lightning Bolt was actually really huge. Alright, well, I mean, everything's coming up quite nicely. I actually have no red mana, too. Oh, this is gonna be good later, isn't it? I'm sniffing it. I'm sniffing it. It's gonna be good later. Alright, they found their red mana. Wow, they didn't do anything? Oh my goodness. Surely it's time to exploit this, right? Prismari command, Brain Surge twice. I mean, I have a bunch of options here. I like the idea of making treasure tokens. So, treasure, draw 2? Yeah, this feels okay, I guess. Get rid of you and... hold on. You and... you... sure. And then... oh, that was easy. Okay, well, I mean, it wasn't the most exciting thing to do, but you know what? We're here. What has my opponent been sandbagging this entire turn? Exile the top 2 cards of your Spribber. Let's just not let that work. And I think I will always wash away Xenagos. Assuming they don't play Cavern of Souls. I had to think about it real hard. Interesting. That... up to. Alright, so I don't actually have to target anything. That has to be right. Oh, it has to be right, right? I don't know if it's right. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, sure, it's right. Doubling Brain Surge is kind of ugly, honestly. Yeah, let's Brain Surge first. Hey, look at that. Wow. Alright. I mean, I was going to do it again, but this is no guarantee. But like I said, people just concede when you get to this point, so... Alright. So, I would yeah, I think after playing for a while, I think Rug is better at taking extra turns. Just extra turn spamming in general. I think genuinely going with the teamer version like Sarkhan is just better. I didn't think so at to start, but after having played a bunch with this, I really think the green in your opening turns is just so much more powerful than doing like, burn spells and some cheap counter spells to get to Ral and then like take extra turns later. Now you can play mana rocks, but that just gets in the way of protecting everything you're doing, right? You're just far less interactive if you're playing a giant chunk of mana rocks. You certainly could, and it probably is just as good because what you lose in like burn spells and early counters, you gain with like being faster, right? But I don't know. I just would prefer to actually, play engaging cards unless I'm playing green. So it's just playing Ral and then taking 2 extra turns. If your opponent doesn't concede, which sometimes happens, there's still a pretty good chance you win. You can take an extra turn, then you can plus it and scry and all that jazz. But you really do like to have something else going on when you go for that. And Teamer has a much easier time of having, excuse me, of having something else going on instead of just taking 2 extra turns, right? Like Sarkhan draws a card instead of giving you 2 turns, and they're borderline equal when the only thing Ral is doing is like poking your opponent and scrying. If you're doing anything more than that, maybe Ral starts to come out on top, but for the most part, it didn't feel like taking 2 turns in a row, even twice, was winning me a game outright if my opponent decided to not concede. I just think the green comes with a better package. I kind of want to play Sarkhan again because I now have temporal manipulation. I did not have it when I played Sarkhan, but this is not a Sarkhan video as much as I want it to be. The early counter spells and burn were just very solid, right? They're always solid. There was nothing different here in this instance. Alchemist Gambit is a 7-minute extra turn. The 7-minute ones are a little, just like, ugh. The 6-minute ones are all right. The 7 ones, I was feeling it. Expropriate at 9 is comically ridiculous. I don't have any way to like race into this other than like Chandra and tokens from here. I guess you could play Strike It Rich, I guess. But at that point, play, the mana rocks and stuff, Ragavan and whatnot. The amount of delighted halflings I saw was insane. I think it was 4 or 5 in a row, just full stop. I saw 4 or 5 of them in a row, and half of my deck didn't work. Over half, because up until that point I actually didn't have half of these burn spells, but I just basically lost right when that happened. And then the other half of games were Cavernous Souls, and those 2 cards are a huge problem when you're trying to defend yourself with counterspells. And I tried to accommodate with burn spells, and it made that situation better. But again, if that's something that you feel like is happening to you a lot, start leaning towards the rug version, right? Look for a Teamer colored commander that wants to do the extra turn thing, because now you're not super screwed when your opponent, or you're far less screwed when your opponent has one of those 2 cards and you can't deal with it. You certainly can't deal with Cavernous Souls, but you can deal with Delighted Halfling pretty well. Once I started to accommodate my deck for it, it started to be much less of an issue. That and all the other mana dorks you see all the time, so that was nice. But the losing the best color in the format is pretty significant, especially for a deck like this. I don't even think you can play Thousand Year Storm without the green in it, or something equaling green like Mana Rocks. Again, I just didn't really feel confident going in doing that. I think I did that last time I played with Ral. I was like, turn 3 Ral or Scoop was my mentality. It's like, all right, if I don't have Buried Treasure or Arcane Signet on turn 2, I'm just moving on, right? Like, I'll play it out, but I'm probably screwed. And it's I don't know, it's really, I'm torn between the 2 decisions of those. Mana Rocks or more relevant spells that get you a longer game that you can stabilize later with counter spells and value from Planeswalkers, all that jazz. So I'm torn. I think it boils down to preference, maybe a little bit of bias, but there is certainly an argument that just solitaring with Mana Rocks is just better, because that's sort of what the green is doing in Sarkhan, right? Just like ramp, ignore opponent, play 7 drop on turn 4. So, I don't know. I can't recommend this over Sarkhan, but it was still all right. If you like taking an extra turn more than once in a row, well, this is one of the things that lets you do that. So let me know what you think about it. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.